Move the crowd. Finally made it. Crowd up. Finally made it.
We live, bro. What up, world?
What's going on, Boston?
New Jack Sports Machine. I am one of your hosts. I go by the name of Jay Adams. I'm here with the homie.
Go by JT, otherwise known as Tease, otherwise also known as government name James Teasley.
Big T's. Yo, man, I want to thank everybody who's been asking us to do this podcast. It's been a long time coming. We talked about this a lot, bro. We talked about doing this podcast for some time. We kind of finally got down to the fact of like just really actually getting it done. So we look forward to giving y'all some dope content. But before we get started, let's just get into why we decided to do this podcast.
The reason why we decided to do this podcast is for many years, a lot of you know, the media representation for African Americans or people of color has been very minute, very small. From Coach Willie May.
Straight up.
Shout out to Coach Willie May.
Shout out, Coach.
Also, Steve Burton, you know, who's a regular now on TV, but for the most part, we don't really have too much representation as far as black media in sports in Boston.
And being one of the biggest, sports media market, if not the biggest, with some of the best shows across the country, the lack of African American representation on the shows is downright disrespectful at times. I know for me, somebody who's an avid, I should say, as well as T's, sports talk listener and an avid watcher of sports, to get on the radio every morning and ride to work and not listen to anybody that has your opinion or have your perspective, it's been really aggravating. So rather than sit there and complain about it anymore, you know what I'm saying?
We decided to do something about it.
We decided to step in and say, why don't we just do it ourselves? So I'm thankful to be here. I look forward to giving a perspective. We're welcome to all, all walks of life. And that's what it's supposed to be about, right? Because sports is a representation of the world.
All creeds and colors, one nation.
So that's right. So everybody should be have the advantage or have the ability to put their opinion. I think another thing too, before we don't want to get too far into this, but one of the things too, also, I think you'll attest to this as well. Like, the cultural nuances that get lost with certain situations that don't get really displayed or expressed in some of these shows. I think it gives the listener an unfair perspective of some of the actions that take place on the field or some of the conduct that might be viewed as punkish.
Correct.
In a way. So hopefully we can kind of fill that space for you guys and provide an alternative for the guys, not only in the barbershops, but for the people that's riding to work every day doing their 9 to 5, or if you want to listen to something other than that, check us out.
Definitely. We want to just give you a different perspective of our daily sports here in Boston and nationwide. We'll be covering all types of topics from sports to music to local athletes at some point, even having our listeners call in at some point. So we want to just make this an open forum for everyone, because basically right now, if you look at the way the landscape is drawn in Boston, we really don't have a voice. You may see a stand-in on one of the radio shows at 98.5 when their main people are on vacation. But we want to be a strong voice here, and we want to be a leading voice here in Boston for the urban community, not only black people, Latinos, Asian people, any of all colors, white people as well. We just want to give an open voice to where it's not always you're a green teamer if you like the Celtics, or you're a blue teamer if you like the Patriots. We just want everyone to have an open opinion and to be able to speak and have a voice here.
And I think if, those cultural nuances and be able to express those and be able to talk about those, I think that's going to make us an overall bigger sports fan community, right? If we're able to kind of work through those things. And you might have a better understanding of some things, and some things that you see and you might view one way now, you might view a little bit way just from our impact and what we're able to deliver to y'all. So with that said, welcome to the New Jack Sports Machine, y'all. Shout out George Michael.
Yep, shout out to George Michael Almighty. If y'all know who George Michael was, those will be a lot of late nights staying up waiting for that show to come on. And we don't mean George Michael from Wham either.
Nah, we mean the one you had before SportsCenter, before ESPN. You would stay up late at night and you would just wait to watch highlights. You know what I'm saying?
Sports highlights, because really after the national anthem came on, there were no sports shows. So if there was anything coming on,
the color banner pop up.
You hear that dan, dan. You're like, all right, where's George Michael?
And then George Michael pop in, him and Byron Allen.
Yep. Had that little
shout out to Byron Allen
sports
too.
Jump off.
But yeah, so he's the basic person that we wanted to kind of build this around. We feel like he's somebody who really didn't get he doesn't really get a lot of notoriety for what he did for sports. And he basically is the godfather of all this sports talk stuff and also all this sports highlight shit. So we want to make sure that we showing the proper respect is due. All right, with that said, let's get into the news. What we got first, Big T's?
We got on the news today what we got on tap, on the docket, on the list, on the scroll. We're going to talk about the bubble, NBA bubble, MLB, how they don't have a bubble,
They need a
NHL,
bubble.
how they have a bubble, NFL, they're going to need a bubble.
Word up.
Definitely going to need a bubble. We're also going to talk about
We'll talk about Mookie. We're going to talk about Mookie Betts. Obviously, we got to bring that up. What else we got?
We're going to talk about Tyson Roy Jones.
Yo, Roy Jones needs to stay home. And we're going to talk about Cam.
Talk about Cam Newton.
So we're going to go over those 4 things real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes what we're going to get into. So every show, we're going to start with the news. We're going to have a couple of national topics that we're going to kind of get into. Mostly, we're going to talk about, obviously, local sports and what's important and prevalent in local sports at the time. But we also want to keep an eye and a pulse on what's going on across the country. So we'll hit these topics, every podcast. And we'll just kind of go through them and give you guys our opinions on them. So the first topic, obviously, T's mentioned, we got the bubble and how it's affected. Everybody knows COVID's a big thing right now. It's affected not only the sports world, but the world in general. But as sports fans, we definitely want sports back. We definitely want to watch sports, but we also got to keep in mind that, the climate, it might not be conducive for sports. So right now, if you look at the 4 major sports leagues, also UFC too. We didn't even bring up UFC and how they're handling their situation.
Fight Island.
Yeah, Fight Island. I thought it was crazy in the beginning too. I thought Dana White was bugging, but it looks like it seems to be working.
You have to separate them. You have to keep them all contained in a controlled environment. Because if you try to trust the average person, especially an athlete, a 22-year-old athlete, to stay within the guidelines and not go out and party and not go out and hang out, you're asking for appetite for destruction.
I think it comes down to a relationship between, the players and the owners. You know what I'm saying? I think owners unilaterally across the board, is that a word, right? That's a word.
Unilateral, yeah.
Yeah.
Unilaterally, yeah.
All right, so across the board, I think all owners are pretty much the same, right? They want to get their money.
It's money.
You know what I'm saying? And to say that they care about the athletes and the safeties and all that shit, I think really...
Because they can't guarantee, and that's what the players are looking for, some type of guarantee that they are going to be safe. Where the NBA, as we know, the players decided that the bubble was a good idea.
Yeah.
They could be away from their families for X amount of time. Where in baseball, they decided that, the Players Association decided that they didn't want to be in the bubble because the owners had a
well, they were also worried about it being a scheme to try to break the union down. And I think that's a big problem. I think
it's money.
MLB had a chance. See, this is what's... I know the stigmatism in the world now is black people, we don't like baseball, right? Yeah, but that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? We grew up, our uncles, my grandfather, I remember growing up, and my Uncle Arnold, my dad, my Uncle Sammy, Tucker, they play softball.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you would go watch them play softball.
Oh, yeah.
And baseball was big in the African American
I used to play baseball as a kid growing up. I used to go to the Red Sox games. I used to get baseballs from one of my grandmother's friends, Mr. Turner, R.I.P. He used to work in the
Shout out
office
Mr.
buildings
Turner.
On the backside where all the clubs are now, and he used to bring me baseballs that were hit over the green monster.
Yeah.
And he'd bring them to me, and he actually bought me a baseball that was signed by the 73 Red Sox. No, I take that back. 77 Red Sox.
Jim Rice was on there?
Correct. Jim Rice.
Jim Rice probably signed
Kyle
the Bruins on
Yastrzemski,
purpose.
Louis Tiant, all in this baseball. And me being a fool and not knowing any better,
You went and played
played
with
baseball with it one day and went out in the woods and gone.
You pulled the Sandlot move.
Yeah, I pulled the sandlot like crazy.
But Major League Baseball is so... My issue with Major League Baseball is they're so unaware of who they are and where they are at this moment in time, right? Of all the sports, they had an opportunity for the first time in a long time to be front and center. You got to think about it. The social distancing already built into the game.
Correct.
All right. Also, too, they had a time to be playing when nobody else was playing, right?
But it still comes down to the union.
It comes down to the union.
It's the strongest union in sports. The Major League Baseball's union is the strongest in sports. And they know if they agree to something outside of their original bargaining agreement, that they'll give the owners a chance to try to break up the union.
Dude, the fact of the matter is this. Them dudes are getting money regardless if they play or not. And I think baseball players and the curmudgeons that are so resistant to change, what good is a union if you don't have no game in 5 years?
Well, they're trying to change the game, shorten it to 7 innings.
But that's because they felt like they had to.
Well,
because of Corona.
nobody, but
And
plus
now
nobody's
these guys,
watching.
but now these guys are looking at that and going, "Oh, you guys tried to shorten. You guys tried to put all these things in place before, well, shortening the league. You wanted to have a pitch count. A pitch clock, and they were resistant to it. So if you're the union and you're so resistant to anything that the owners say, the first thing, they're trying to slip this by us. They're trying to use this Corona thing as a reason to slip this by us, so that we're forced to play the type of game that we don't want to play. And it's absurd. Like, you're giving out all these contracts, but like, dude, let's look at baseball in 10 years from now. What do
It
you
probably
think?
won't be baseball as we see it right now. It's not going to be the same game. But then also getting real quick when you said that, players do have the option to opt out. David Price opted out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But players are deciding to play. But then you can't also look at it as if the owners are looking to do this, to have the union broken and to also try to make money at the same time, but they're not thinking, like you said, they're not thinking about the players' health.
Well, no,
Well, the
listen,
players aren't thinking of their own health because if
problem
that was
with
the
that
case, if
it's not
everyone's
that.
in agreement, right, and it's the grand scheme is to make money and everyone be safe, then they would have come to some type of agreement to somewhere where everyone is safe. So they're not having the Marlins with 14 dudes blown up. You're not going to
Exactly.
have the Philadelphia Phillies with 2 dudes blown up.
Right.
You're not going to have the Cardinals with guys,
But
having
herein lies
corona.
the issue, though.
Because now they're going to talk about shutting down baseball.
This is the problem, though, because if you can't negotiate, right? If every negotiation with, okay, T's, we're gonna have 2 pencils or 3. Well, how about we have 1.5 pencils? Nah, I want. Like, if we can't come to terms on simple shit, how can we negotiate? Because the logical plan would have been, right? Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Do what the NBA's doing. You got to bubbleize them.
Yep.
The players were resistant to bubbleizing. Nobody wants to give. So that's why your ass is sitting here about to shut down.
Not
And the
getting no
NBA
money.
came in within a matter of like
Not
this,
gonna have
right?
any money.
The NBA came in a matter of this and
Yep.
said, hey, we're partners in this thing.
Yep.
We got TV money on the table that we need to get.
Hockey too.
And hockey too.
Hockey 12 teams.
And hockey players are different though.
Yeah.
Hockey players they want to play hockey. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they have guaranteed contracts too, but hockey is not sitting in the top spot like NBA or NFL. So they have to play. You know what I'm saying? And everybody recognizes that. And the distrust between the hockey players in the NHL is not. It might not be as hot as it is in baseball.
Well, the union is better, and the players trust the union to do the right thing on their behalf in hockey.
Because I do think a lot of times when hockey makes a lot of decisions, it does come down to hockey. What's best for the game of playing hockey? You know what I'm saying? Because hockey players are like they're like you and I, man. They're like regular dudes. A lot of them. You know what I'm saying? They just want to play the game, and they have certain codes and parameters that they live by, and if you don't honor those certain, you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that carries out to a lot of how they approach things.
Because the bubble worked for the NBA because, like we said, all the players, 344 of them, all in one controlled area in Orlando. Can't go in, can't go out. If you go out, then you have certain guidelines and protocols when you come back
100%.
in. Like your boy Lou Will found out when he went to get them wangs.
Had the wings and things.
Magic
and
City.
things.
Well, there was no things. There's no things there.
There was things.
Was
Because
there
there was a
things?
report today that a stripper just came out and said she danced for me.
Oh, because they said there was no.
There was things.
There was
Wings
no
and things.
women's working.
Yo,
he
wings-
just went to go get his name wings.
Bro, if you got to go back in the bubble tomorrow, what you going to do?
Some namesake wings.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Because the wings are named after him.
You
The
got some
lemon
things,
pepper
too.
wings.
I mean, dude, but the NBA recognized this. The bottom line comes down to this: the NBA recognized the uniqueness of the situation, right? And they came up with a resolution that everybody was comfortable with.
Because
But they
this
were
is
all
baseball's time too. This is normal time when baseball's popping off and they don't have any competition.
They don't have any
Now
competition.
they're going up against the NBA and the NHL.
in the NBA,
And the NFL's about to start.
so that nobody's gonna be watching. So the NBA,
And like you said, they had the opportunity and they blew it.
and they blew it. They had the opportunity to have all eyes front and center, and then now, you make the players be more vibrant. You know what I'm saying? This is your time where you can promote your players without any interruptions, without anybody in the way.
They don't have that. Baseball doesn't do that. Think about
And that's the problem, though.
The
That's the
baseball's
problem
top
because you
star.
know
Mike
why?
Trout could walk down the street in Boston and nobody would have any idea who he is.
It's the unwritten rules that's killing baseball. It's the even the reporters of some stiff ass. I was watching ESPN and what was one of the dudes? It wasn't. I didn't even start the timer. My bad. It wasn't. What the hell? He had one of the reporters comes up on that dude, and he's like in his 20s. This dude is stiffer than a damn piece of cardboard, bro.
But that's what they want now. Because they're not paying everybody like they used to. All
But look
the
at every
season
other
reporters,
sport.
they're gone.
Even if you look at hockey, right? You got Malone.
Mm-hmm.
You got what's the guy from Boston who played for the Bruins? Mike Mulberry.
Mike Milbury.
Mike
Yep.
Milbury. You
Yep.
got the guy from
Jeremy
Canada who
Roenick.
wears all the crazy ass stuff.
Oh, Don Cherry.
Don Cherry.
The goalie.
You got
Used to
Jeremy
play for the
Roenick.
Beans. For the Bruins. excuse
So
me.
they got vibrant characters. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's a fast-paced game.
Baseball doesn't have characters like that.
They don't allow
That's
them
not
to be.
Big Papi was like one of the last dudes in Boston where you had a charismatic, guy like that. That's baseball's not really.
So here's the situation. We seen how the NBA did it, right?
Yep.
Which they recognize they can bubbleize guys. You know what I'm saying? They can kind of corral things. They don't have as many working parts. They can kind of focus. They find a place in Disney.
Yep.
They use the partner to kind of help facilitate that. The guys agreed. Major League Baseball agrees doing it wrong.
Yep.
They
Hockey
know-
has two cities.
Hockey has two
They're
cities,
using Edmonton and Toronto.
and they had no positive tests.
No positive
So that
tests
means
either.
that means the players are taking upon themselves to say, you know what, we're not gonna mess this up. You know what I'm saying? Because they gotta think. Hockey was on thin. This is
Yeah,
gonna be,
it's on
sound
thin
like
ice.
a pun, right? It was on thin ice as far as its reputation and losing its market share. So they recognize, like, look, we gotta do whatever we gotta do to get on the ice because we gotta. It's kind of like they gotta stay to their core fans, but then they also gotta grow the game. So they recognize that.
Well, you figure with hockey, they have diehard fans anyway. Because one thing I know, living in Boston, you have Bruins fans, Harry Sinden,
They'll
the
come
Jacobs, when they owned that squad, they'd put out crappy teams and people would still buy tickets. That place would still sell out.
They still
and
go,
the teams
man.
would still not.
They still go.
But that's how hockey fans are.
Because, I mean, that's admitted they're a rare breed. They're blue collar. Most of them, majority of them are blue collar, and that's never changing.
Nope.
And I think the punching you in your face aspect has a lot to do with it.
True.
Because you have to honor the code. You got to honor how you do things. Or there's consequences.
That's one of the few sports where fighting is okay.
Yo, punch people in the face, but they don't
Yeah.
respect you.
Yeah, man. I'll see you outside with
So-
my stick.
With that said, where we stand with the NFL?
They're not playing football, bro. I know you think they're playing football. They may start, but I don't know how you're going to have all those people on the sideline. Everybody on the sidelines got to wear a mask, and there's no way you can keep the chain gang 6 feet apart from the ball boy, who's 6 feet apart from the dude who holds the wire for the coach when he goes up and down the sideline. He's going to move his wire
There's
so
a
everybody
lot
don't
of
step
moving.
on
There's
it.
a lot of moving parts when it
Yeah,
comes to
man.
football, and you can't social distance playing football. I mean, I guess, to be optimistic. Well, let me not say optimistic, but one of the things that I'm sitting here saying is I respect all the stuff that goes on with trying to, fill the football game, right? But dog, you really think these dudes is gonna let that money slide? Unless major players start sitting out or the government comes in and says, yo, you guys can't play because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, you figure
And you gotta think they have no leverage. The players really don't got no leverage because the bottom end of the roster guys,
You
they
figure-
ain't making the type of bread where they can sit
NFL
out.
can do whatever they want, but if the city, the federal, whoever is running the city
That's what I'm
health,
saying.
like happened in Toronto with the Blue Jays, they can just shut that down, saying,
Well, that mean-
I'm sorry, Arizona Cardinals, there's too big of a COVID outbreak. Y'all are not playing football. There's no football being played.
And you
here.
know what? Unless
We're
that
not
comes-
allowing these players to come in from other states to infect people here. Because think about that. You're going to have teams flying all over the place. How
And
you
even
gonna do
college
that?
football just put out. Dude, I respect everything you're saying, bro. I understand. But my thing is like, Joe, unless the municipalities, and you like that's another word. Unless the municipalities come out and shut it down, the NFL players don't have what NBA players have, and even
They don't
NHL
have the
players.
guaranteed
They
contract,
don't have-
that's why.
It's the bottom half of the roster.
True.
You got 53 heads.
But that's what you're going to be seeing on TV. Because all these people dropping out by the time season starts, you're going to be watching.
And-
you're going to be watching preseason game number 3.
And
second half.
Let's take it to a business perspective. What happens with all these? Didn't the NFL just sign some crazy ass TV deal too?
But the cap's dropping down. It's only going to be
But
175.
if you're an executive of NBC or whatever, and you're like, yo, I'm supposed to have these games, what happens with that?
you're not getting TV money.
They're not getting the TV money, right?
No, there is no.
So you don't think that's an incentive for the networks and the NFL owners to say, hey, we don't care if it's... Tease, me and you might be playing for the Patriots at the end of this week.
Man, that's not happening.
Yo, I'll be
bro.
out there, bro. I think I'm good for like 4 and like 160.
Yeah, you got like one dig route in you. Then it'll be digging you up out
Yo,
the ground.
I can get
you got
four
one dig
with-
route. You got one dig
Dog,
route in you.
Yo,
you got an eight. You got an 8 in
all right.
you.
Yo, I get 4 and 1. I can get 4 and 40.
All right.
What's that, 10 a catch?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's covering you?
4 and 40 to pull hamstring. It don't matter.
And an ice tub.
Yo, listen. There's not another 40-year-old dude out there right now that can shut me down one-on-one coverage in the slot.
Probably not. You see your boy T.O. running there against Tyreek Hill?
Oh, yeah, T.O.'s a beast.
Yeah, 36.
But he don't play defense, though. But, yo, I'm good for 4 and 40. Respect
Yeah,
my game.
But as far as the bubbles go, I think the NFL has to figure out something. They can't have people flying.
I mean, we talked about it. It's like a series of centralized bubbles. But yo, the bottom line comes down to if the players, and not just the players, all the moving
coaches
parts
yeah.
don't adhere to the restrictions, nothing's gonna work.
Equipment people.
Too many people.
Yeah, it's like
So
how
I mean,
you
but
gonna...
I'm just looking at the situation of either play or don't play. Either say, yo, we're not playing, and just let's not even try to. Because if you go in the season and you stop, and people start getting sick, and God forbid.
I mean, people start getting sick.
No, I'm saying in the bubble once you start.
No, I know. Yeah.
And God forbid somebody passes away. Like you mentioned in the NFL, a lot of bigger guys.
The BMI. That's another thing. When you're looking at the other sports, you don't have a lot of guys who have a high body mass index where COVID really affects them in football like it does in basketball or hockey or baseball.
I mean, there's just a lot of moving parts, man. I mean, I could be as optimistic as possible.
But the players signed off on that in agreement, knowing that BMI, there could be a possibility. Plus, they also know football players go out there with the danger of concussion. So,
dude,
Corona to them is...
They're going to play, man. They're gonna play. They're gonna play because they're not letting that money slide.
They may want to play, but I think specific states, like remember I sent you that graphic where there are 13 states right now that have like high corona numbers.
Yeah.
So basically, right now, Florida the other day was at 48.1% new cases per 100,000 people. Right?
Florida, they didn't just cut Florida off and let that shit float into
now
the...
Now you add Louisiana, 46, Mississippi. These are all places, college football too. So Tennessee, Georgia, Nevada, South Carolina. You're talking about them playing football in all these states where the numbers...
Let me ask you a question. It's funny, you're a parent, right?
My kid's not going to school.
Oh, my kid's not going to school either. But I'm just saying, you're a parent of a college athlete that's supposed to play football. He's at camp right now.
He's coming back home.
He's coming home?
Yes. Because they say, okay, say my son gets COVID and he recovers, he doesn't fully recover because there's still cell damage that's in his body for life. Those cells never repair. Yes, he'll be better.
Yeah.
But those cells that are damaged from the COVID, those never repair, which a lot of people don't realize. Yeah, people have overcome it, like Ezekiel Elliott's had it, but he's not going to be the same dude. So it's impossible to have the flu, that type of flu, recover and be the same person you were before you got it.
And especially when it's a respiratory thing.
Correct.
And it's a lot of...
And the way COVID works, it attacks your cells, and then your immune system tries to fight it, and it's like a battle royal.
So where we're sitting at right now, it looks like the NBA, they got the ball right now, literally.
Yeah, NBA, NHL.
Because they're in the NHL. And I mean, I'll be watching a lot of NHL games. You know what I'm saying? I usually watch a lot of Bruins stuff. I usually don't watch a lot of market stuff. So as far as the bubble goes, man, that's pretty much how we feel about it, man. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. So what's the second one we got? We got Mookie Betts.
Yeah, the man that got away.
You seen that throw?
The man that got away? The man that didn't want to stay?
I mean, bro, they say that.
The man from Tennessee?
This is where it comes from. This is where this whole dynamic of having this show comes in, right?
He didn't want to be here.
We don't have no inside shit because we're new, right?
Yep.
So we don't really know, right? He said all the right things. He did all the right things. The fact of the matter is, when they put a deal on the table, he didn't sign it. Okay?
From what I heard, from all the baseball insiders, he didn't want to be here.
He didn't want to be here. Now, that's fine. But why didn't he want to be here?
He didn't like the limelight. Like they said, even when you saw him in the parade, when he was riding on the float, like he's in the back. He's not, up front, on top, throwing stuff. Even though that's not his personality.
Yeah.
And they really didn't push him to the front to be the star of the team. Yeah. But they thought that that's the role that he would take after Big Papi left. Yeah. That he would step in and be
he
the
was
next
a star
face,
of the team.
The next face of the team. But, doing Dunkin' Donut commercials.
But baseball don't do that for nobody.
No, I know. A lot of baseball players don't do that, period.
Boston wasn't conducive of...
Aaron Judge is probably one of the biggest baseball players that you see right now doing any type of commercial. And even though why you know who he is, I've seen some commercials.
He's unique. He's a
A-type personality.
I'm not trying to disrespect him because he's 6 what?
Yeah, he's huge. He's big.
I'll bite his ankle, though.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
I'll bite his ankle. But I don't want to disrespect him, but he is... at the circus, he's the lady with the beard.
Yeah, well, he's the strong man.
Yeah, he's the strong man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's
pumping
unique.
The weights,
but even still, they don't even promote him like they should.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't see baseball players at Fashion Week. I don't see baseball players
That's
at
not their lane.
F1 races. Well, but I see all these other athletes.
Certain players, that's not their lane.
I see hockey players at Premier League games and things like that. Like, the hip-hop...
You think there's really not hip-hop in baseball like that anymore?
Not even hip-hop. I'm just saying... The baseball culture is so rigid to
figure,
baseball.
Let's take a ride through Boston. down in the city, in Dorchester, Cambridge, in the hood, and see how many kids are out on the baseball field playing. Or A, or B.
The little leagues.
No, hold on. Or B, let's go out and see how many little leagues are in the hood that actually exist. Around here.
None. But
Now,
I mean,
in
as far as
Brockton, not where I live.
As far as
I don't see any.
bringing it back to Mookie, it's
You
like,
get a lot of empty baseball fields that people use for dog parks.
yo, you have an athlete, African American athlete, who's charismatic.
Right. Name a top African American baseball player right now.
Mookie Betts.
No, besides Mookie Betts. I'm waiting.
Oh, Mookie Betts.
Yeah, it's gonna take you a while.
That's probably it. And the
Adam
dude,
Jones.
Yeah, but he's not there
I'm
no
saying.
more. You
Who
know,
else?
the dude from Oakland, Chris Davis, but you don't really see him nowhere.
Rollins is too old.
Jimmy, he's gone. He's not even. I don't even think he's playing anymore.
Exactly.
But I'm saying
you're making my point.
Yeah. Listen, bro.
When I go with my friend Dave with his son to all these little baseball tournaments in New Jersey and New York, and you see like all these all-star squads. You get a lot of Dominican dudes. You get some Spanish dudes. Maybe one black dude. You have like 25 teams. You'll see maybe two black dudes two black kids between the 25 baseball teams.
My man Adrian,
and two kids.
My man Adrian, if he listens to this podcast, shout out to Adrian. Wax, his son plays. His son is young. He plays baseball. He's nice, and I always show him love. Like, yo, that's dope. We need that. But I think Mookie, we hear a lot about he didn't want to be here, and the perception is that he wants to be here, but we don't know for sure from him that he didn't want to be there. We never heard from him. But the fact of the matter is this:
actions speak louder than words, bro.
Okay, exactly.
But they weren't going to pay him that bag. They were not going to pay him.
But I think a lot of this started with Mookie when his arbitration year came up. His arbitration came here. He had a big rookie year, right? And then he had arbitration. You know the rules of baseball; they want to stick to it. So he was due. I think it was like they haggled over like $1 million. He wanted $2 million. He wanted $3 million. They wanted to pay him $1 million, and then I guess they ended up selling for like $2 million. They haggled over this man over $1 million, and then wonders why when they come back to try to say him to a long-term deal, he's like, "Yo, I don't want that." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you got a homegrown, let's be real. You got a homegrown baseball player, right? There's no reason why he should be signing up.
Because they offered him a 10-year, $300 million deal, but he wanted with 12 years, $420. So they were not even close to the money.
Yeah, because you know what that is? You know what that is?
He wants the insurance.
No, that is him saying basically, I'm going to price you out without playing myself. Because if he comes and says, if they offer him that, and he's salty because it's like, bro, when we was haggling, when I wanted $3 million, you wouldn't give me $1 million. Now you wanted me to give you a deal? Nah, I want $700 bazillion, knowing that they ain't gonna pay it, so he can walk. He can take it away. So I'm saying, what made him not want to? He did not want to be here. It's a cop out. What made him not want to be here? Was it the culture of Boston? Was it not wanting to be in the limelight? Because I think he was very aware of. I don't know if he has family in Boston who was black. But we all know, blowing up black in Boston, understanding the dynamics of what it is to be in Boston.
He's not from here.
But I'm saying somebody pulled his coat to, yo, this is how you got to float out here. You understand what I'm saying? Because he never said anything foul. He never did anything crazy. He played it straight down the middle. And then when it was time to bounce, it was time to bounce. And now we got all the speculation that he didn't want to be here. But what I'm saying as a baseball person, right? Mm-hmm. You're a baseball.
You know when you want to be here, like Big Papi wanted to be here. Manny wanted to be here. You don't want to be here. You make it known. You tell, like your boy
you
Kyrie.
Don't say that, though,
how your boy Kyrie
business.
come out and say, I want to be here, even though he lied and left.
Because he's a sucker.
But anyway, he wanted to say he wanted to be here.
You are James Teasley, GM on the Boston Red Sox, and Mookie Betts is your best player. You homegrown him. He wants whatever. You gotta. Why don't you want to be like? You gotta fix that. You can't not let that man leave.
Henry didn't want to pay him. Like you said, he's cutting losses.
Well, we'll get into that later. So, all right. So, I mean, that's the basis about Mookie, man. Much love to Mookie, man. I enjoy watching him.
Great player.
Great player, man. I just seen him throw some dude out from Mars yesterday, and he's on L.A. and the Red Sox are in shambles right now.
Yeah, no pitching.
Yo, Tease, we might be able to pitch for them right now.
Ah, man.
So, what? What my stats? What's my stats for the Patriots? I got 4 for 40.
You get hit him with that banana arm. Hit him with that banana
Yo,
pitch.
I could probably bat like 113. You know what I'm saying? On base percentage, still a couple of bases. But they need pitching, though. My noodle arm ain't getting it done.
Nah. You're looking like Dr. Fauci throwing out that pitch the other day.
My noodle arm ain't getting it done.
You're like 50 throwing out that pitch.
Oh, yo, 50's crazy. Yo, that shit was crazy. Like, you would think somebody that thuggish would have some type of athletic ability. None. But,
Zero.
Yo, let's get to this one, man. No, let's get to this.
Yeah, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Somebody please save Roy Jones from himself.
Yo, all I'm gonna say is this: I got a lot of respect. Roy Jones is one of my favorite fighters of all time. Right? I thought a lot of his career he got undermined because they say, oh, he didn't fight nobody. There was really nobody for him to fight.
You know he
after
raises
this.
chickens?
He
fights
better learn
chickens?
something.
He fights roosters.
He better learn something.
You better go get
Because
one
he's
of
gonna be
them
doing a
roosters,
lot
boy.
of ducking. Because,
He be doing a lot of ducking and clucking.
listen,
Yo, they said your boy Mike Tyson was crying the other day.
I posted it on Facebook, bro. Like, somebody tell Roy Jones to not show up, because at the end of the day, sitting next to Mike Tyson having a conversation, I'd be worried, scared.
Well, you always know it's going to be the exhibition like Thunder Lips and Rocky.
But that's the thing,
It starts out as fun and games,
But what is an exhibition,
and
though?
then somebody taps somebody too hard.
But what is an exhibition? Like, what is a boxing
You're
exhibition?
supposed to be tapping on each other in an exhibition. You're supposed to tap, not like.
You think
full
Mike
on-
Tyson knows how to tap?
No.
And you think Roy Jones still thinks he's Roy Jones. I seen him get knocked out by that white dude his last fight. He shouldn't have been fighting no more. You know what I'm saying? So, Mike Tyson, this is the thing. I seen the Joe Rogan podcast when Mike Tyson was on there, and Joe Rogan asked him. See, this is my thing with Tyson. Let me get to it. I'm a roundabout way. I'm going to get to it, right? Sometimes you say you love somebody, right? And they might be self-destructive, but that thing that makes them popular, you get off on it so much that you don't care about necessarily what happens to them when they have to be that person, right?
Yeah. The energy that they have when they're that person.
Okay, so I sat there and I watched this guy get emotional about when Joe Rogan asked him, like, yo, do you train or he's like, I don't do anything boxing anymore because I don't like the man that I am. I have to be in order. Just the smell of the gym makes me turn into that evil person. And then a couple months later, we see these videos of him doing. And everybody's like, yo, Mike Tyson back in the ring. And I'm saying, you selfish motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's going to take Mike Tyson to fall off, look where he's come. Look where he's come. He's got a ranch. He's living well. He always, he's the uncle of everybody's uncle. He's got in good space. Yo, 53-year-old Mike Tyson, I don't want to see him, for my entertainment,
Nope. He said he'd have to go back into that space.
turn into a monster again
Yep.
for
His
my
words.
enjoyment.
Yeah.
You
for our-
selfish
for our
asses.
entertainment.
I don't care about it. Like, for real, I'm not interested in it because I think at some point in time we got to protect our gods. We got to protect our
You're retired
our
for a
legends.
reason.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
You don't fight for a reason
And
anymore.
you know it's not gonna. Them dudes, yo, it's just like me and your teams. You play football, right? We didn't play football in NFL. We didn't, and a lot of dudes I play football with. Yo, it's all fun and games. We're joking, but at some point in the midst of that flag game,
Become serious. It gets serious. And like I said, all it takes is one tap.
All
Roy
it-
Jones hit him wrong. One kidney punch by mistake.
and these dudes only know how to be one thing, and that's great.
And one's going to back down to the other. One's not going to bow down to the other.
Because I've never seen a boxing exhibition before, so I don't know what it means.
Only time I've ever seen exhibitions, it's usually like a wrestler versus a boxer or a mixed martial artist versus a boxer. Like it's two different
Or
disciplines.
Conor McGregor versus
it's like
Floyd
never
Mayweather.
two dudes. Like exhibitions, they got headgear on. You're seeing like two.
But they throwing though.
But they're usually amateurs if it's an exhibition. You don't have two professional,
These dudes is
ex-professional
gonna get in there.
champions going in there.
Mike is gonna get in there.
Flashback, ding, ding, ding.
Not even a flashback.
Is that Evander? Get him.
He's just gonna hit him. You're gonna have all the people. I don't know how they're gonna handle that situation with fans or whatever. But yo, my stance on this thing
Yeah,
is
they have to have a
everybody.
bubble for that too.
Yeah, everybody's excited about it. I mean, with all due respect, I'm just like, yo, man, I don't want to see. Given that clip that I heard of Mike, and then you see the clip that comes out with him crying, like
Yeah.
just the other day, he's crying, talking
Yeah.
about I'm back training and I feel like a punk because I'm not that guy. Like, yo, Roy Jones, do not go to this fight.
Nope, do not. Get a body double. Get
Yo,
a stand in.
Like Martin did on Martin when he hired the dude to come take a dive at the gym, and then Tommy Hearn showed up.
Yep.
He was like, tell Tommy I don't want to fight no more. Tell Tommy I don't want to fight no more. But yeah, man, I mean,
I
don't know.
guarantee you won't even go past 5 rounds. It's not gonna make it the full.
Yeah, I
8.
hope COVID. Like, I hope something comes up with COVID where they can't do this shit. Straight up, I hope something comes up with COVID where they can't do this shit. So we spend a lot of time on the news. We gotta go to Cam. We talk about Cam. Obviously, Cam is in town.
Saw the video. Saw the picture of him pulling up to the stadium.
Let me ask you a question, right? Have you heard anything from Cam since he's touched down and pitch? Like, so we had all this
He
nonsense.
said he wasn't talking. I saw when he landed in Logan.
and they criticized him about that.
A female reporter walked up to him and said, asked him a question. He said, I'm not talking. And they said no one from the Patriots organization got to him and told him not to talk. He probably just chose on his own.
Because this is the thing.
Just let his playing do the talking.
He got super criticized about Cam's an entity into himself.
He's a peacock.
He's a promotion. Yeah, he promotes himself, and all those, and this comes to the context, right? And this once again comes to what we provide for the culture, right? What we provide for the sports talk culture is the it's a perspective on certain things, right? So we all know Tom Brady's gone, right? Tom Brady's not coming back.
No.
I'm sorry. Listen, sports talk world, people out there listening, white, black, otherwise, Tom Brady's not coming back. We had unprecedented success. It's never gonna happen again. They're talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
It's never gonna happen again. Tom Brady's who he was in no way, shape, or form. Praising somebody else or being optimistic about what can provide for the Patriots in no way undermines what Tom Brady did here or his legacy. So chill, cut the shit and relax.
Sit back and enjoy the ride.
So you had Golden Boy, now you got ATL Shawty.
Now you're about to see a type of football that you have not seen before.
ATL Shawty. And I think a lot of times people forget who Cam Newton or don't want to. I think it's just like Floyd Mayweather, right? People will go, Floyd Mayweather's going to lose. Not because they believe he's going to lose.
Just because they
don't like him so much.
Yeah, they want to.
And they let that distort them from who he is. So then what happens? He goes in there and knuckles somebody up. And then they make a whole, fuck him. No, listen, you shouldn't have let your opinion of him, who he is as a person, deflect your analysis of who he really is.
And you also think with Cam, and Cam's this guy that, an enigma, he's won on every level, high school, college. He made it to the Super Bowl
He has
here.
an ego.
Plus also, Bill Belichick's that guy, that coach, that genius that goes out and gets a player that lights him up. So you figure he went out and got Wes Welker. Wes Welker lit up the Patriots before he became a Patriot. He went out and there was somebody else he went out and got that lit us up. And then he got on the squad. But Cam Newton beat us, 2-3 times?
So couldn't stop him.
He's always known to go out and get a player that plays well against us, and he goes out and brings them in. And now you figure with Cam Newton and the coaching he's about to receive, you're about to receive a Cam Newton that we've never seen before.
And, I think that,
the best coaching he's ever had was when he had Ron Rivera as his head coach, and North Turner was his offensive coordinator.
North Turner was the best coaching. Ron Rivera, I think, needs to, what Ron Rivera needs to do? Ron Rivera needs to give
coordinator.
No, Ron Rivera needs to give 10% of his earnings for the rest of his life to Cam Newton because Cam Newton made him and got him paid. Because Cam Newton carried that Carolina team for a long time. No help.
Ted Ginn Jr.
In times he shouldn't have played, he played.
Yep.
People want to talk about his showboating and
only on the field.
You never heard of Cam off the field. You never heard of him not working hard. You never heard of him see, this is the thing. You could talk like a leader and you could say all the right shit, but will people follow you?
Correct.
And if people are following you, are you leading them in the right direction? Right? So has Cam ever led anybody in the wrong direction?
He's always won the championships when he's been healthy.
Okay, and you know what? He has an ego. Listen, it is what it is.
All quarterbacks have egos.
And it's a little bit more, it's a little bit more with y'all to not y'all's taste.
Name a quarterback who doesn't have an ego.
Tom Brady got an ego?
No, they all do.
They all do, right?
That's all part of it. That's all part of being quarterback.
So the thing about it is this. Let's not be confused about who Cam Newton really is. Stop talking to me. Listen, Tease, how many times we argue over the phone before Cam Newton about Jarrett Stidham? What would you say to me? When I would say, I like Jarrett Stidham, you'd be like, Jarrett Stidham, dog. It's just,
he's not going to.
And I'd be like, what happened when Cam Newton came?
Jarrett Stidham disappeared.
I was like, what?
It's like dust.
Because it's Cam Newton, bro.
No, I know. It's different. You're talking different levels. Like
you know what I'm saying?
Like you always say, there's levels to this.
There's levels. And I think
you're talking about an MVP. You're talking about an A-type personality. You're talking about a dog.
And
you're talking about the lion as opposed to...
Don't listen to what pundits say about him.
Oh, definitely not.
Go listen to what the players on the Patriots, to a man and players in the league said.
And the guys that used to play with him on the Panthers, what they said about him.
Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of this Cam thing. Let's talk football when it comes to Cam, right? If I say the Patriots offense is going to be better with Cam, does that offend you?
No, it doesn't offend me.
Do you think it offends some people?
It'll offend some people. They'll take it the wrong way.
They take it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I mean like this.
Rodney Harrison said Patriots fans about to see an offense that they ain't never seen before.
And this is the thing. You hear people saying, we'll get at the people who are saying later on in the podcast. But I hear people saying, Cam, you're just going to chuck and duck. Like, when the fuck has a Cam Newton ever chucked and ducked?
Nah, he likes to throw it deep.
He likes to throw it to the fucking backs. He likes to throw it to the tight ends, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, figure that's all they gave him in
That's all they gave him
in Carolina. He had
what
Olsen.
did the Patriots do?
He had Olsen. He had Stewart, James Stewart.
James Stewart was
He had
washed.
McCaffrey at the end.
And McCaffrey was a beast. And
He
some of
had
y'all need to be
Tolbert
slapped.
as the fullback when they went to the Super Bowl that year.
Okay, so let's break Cam down in a nutshell. Rookie year, Steve Smith, Greg Olsen. What did Greg Olsen do before he went to Carolina? Exactly.
He didn't have nobody. Oh, was it Jake Delhomme? No, Jake Delhomme. Yeah, Jake Delhomme came.
Jake Delhomme. No.
Jake Delhomme, and then who's the dude from?
No, when he was at the Bears,
Oh,
Greg Olsen. He was in the. He didn't do anything.
he was okay.
He was okay.
He was okay, but he didn't have a quarterback there either.
Oh, exactly. So
So once he got with Cam,
they had Steve Smith.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
Ted Ginn.
and
Right.
Musa Muhammad.
D'Angelo
end.
Williams.
Yep.
Right. Cam throws for 4,000 something yards his rookie year. Right. What happens next year?
What was that?
Steve Smith's cut.
Steve's cut. Yeah. The
Ted
draft.
Ginn's not re-signed. He goes to the Saints. Now, Tank Ginn's a one-trick pony, but it's a good one trick.
Then they draft Kelvin Benjamin. He had a good year with Kelvin Benjamin his
The
rookie
next
year.
year, and then what happened with Calvin Benjamin?
He garbage.
Got fat and
Yeah. Then they traded him to Buffalo.
no, yeah, they traded him to Buffalo, but yeah, they needed to, but you got to replace him with somebody.
They
And then
didn't.
they let D'Angelo Williams go, and he had 2 great years
Yeah.
with Pittsburgh, and then Steve Smith had 2 great years with Baltimore,
Yep.
right? And Ted Ginn had a couple of good years with the Saints, and then he had some good years with Saint. He was like with the Saints, and he left somebody, and then came back to the Saints.
Yep.
I can't remember exactly what, but then Cam Newton got a washed-up James Stewart. Tony Tolbert leaves
Yep.
after they lose in the Super Bowl, right?
That's it.
Luke Kuechly was getting hurt every week, which
Yep.
I respect.
The
Luke Kuechly.
defense was more. They were based more. They were more of a running team.
But what I'm
slash
saying-
defensive build.
But what I'm saying is he carried a lot of that load.
Oh yeah.
That 15-1 team that went to the Super Bowl was not that good. Let's
was
just be
him.
real. It was
That
him. And we're gonna talk about the whole jump. Listen,
Jumping on the fumble.
I said the same thing everybody else said. Cam, what the hell are you doing? You gotta jump on that. But let's be real. It's not a cop out. I don't want to make this sound like a cop out. But you got a kid who's been successful his whole career, right? And sometimes your ego slaps you in your face sometimes, right? And we all know we've all been in games, or some of you guys have been in games where it's like things ain't going your way, and you're so used to things going your way, you might not necessarily know how to react for the first time when things ain't going your way. But do we gotta crucify him for the rest of his life for that?
But he shut down though, man. You're the leader of that squad. At the end, I understand you.
I'm not-
you're
yo, I'm no
salty,
way-
But you can't get up off the press row after the game when you need to sit there and take.
You gotta
bullets.
take it.
You gotta take
You
the
gotta
bullets.
take the
if you're up
bullets.
there,
I no way,
opening up
shape,
your
or
shirt
form.
like you're Superman and you're bulletproof. You gotta be able to
In no way,
sit up there
shape,
and
or
take the
form.
bullets.
In no way, shape, or form, am I saying that he was right in how he handled it. But let's not act like he sucks as a football player.
Oh, definitely not.
And let's not let that distract
No,
you
I'm
from the
excited
fact
to see
that
him play here.
Cam is Cam.
If he can still play, that's
And-
key. If he can still play, that's what we want to see. The foot
If he's
injury,
healthy.
the shoulder.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, that's
so,
key.
for all you people out there, if Cam Newton is healthy, stop fucking telling me about him competing for the job, Zolak. And stop telling me about they really like Jarrett Stidham. Stop telling me about, well, he's going to have to do it the Patriot way. Bill Belichick's going to take Cam. He's going to make Cam only make Cam do what he does
Yep.
well. And what Cam does well, he does really, really friggin' good. So let's look forward and let's be optimistic if we do have an NFL season.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, that's all I really got on Cam. I mean, as you can tell, I'm passionate about it because it frustrates me because I feel like Cam is one of the players in the league that's really, really been underappreciated because I think a lot of time he catches flack because people don't like his personality.
Plus, also being in the Carolina market, you really didn't get to see them play as much on TV if they weren't that good.
Exactly.
When they weren't that good.
So, I mean, that's it for the news, bro. You got anything else?
That was basically it. And
That was
didn't see
basically
anything
it.
else on the docket that I wanted to cover as far as news goes.
Took a little bit more time than we wanted to take, but hey, it's the first podcast. We're still getting used to this.
Exactly.
But we got a lot of stuff to say, so we're going to say it. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. So what usually podcast, at this point in time in the podcast, we usually have a topic that, we're focused on. But given that it's the first one, we're going to take this time to kind of catch up on everything local. All the sports teams, Red Sox, Celtics, Bruins, get into the Pats. And we just kind of break down where they're at right now, what our vision is for them going forward, and any type of issues that or things that have come up with them, and kind of get everybody caught up on our opinions about them. So first and foremost, I guess, I say let's just most current. Let's start with the NBA just started, but let's give baseball, let's give the Red Sox, the proper time because they actually kind of jumped off a little bit before NBA.
I don't know if you want to call it jumped off because some of the scoring or lack thereof.
Nah, man.
When they have no type of energy, no type of synergy.
It seems to me like they didn't think they wasn't trying. Like it seems like to a man they didn't think they was going to be playing baseball this year.
I don't know. But the new GM Bloom, I don't know if they got Orlando Bloom because I don't know what he's doing, man.
I mean,
they're cutting payroll. They don't have any starting pitching. Of all these, the only pitcher they have, they need to trade him now while they can still get something for him before they blew him. Huh?
They can't trade Sale. Now he's hurt.
No. Nathan Eovaldi. The only guy who won a game for them.
Nathan. Yeah, dude, he got $17 million though.
Man, listen,
and
they
you know
don't
no
have.
dudes is going to be moving because you got to think too.
Unless
high
you're
salary
going
players.
to do platoon pitching then.
Yeah,
you're going to bring
that's what they're
Workman
gonna
out. You're going to have to start using your bullpen. You have, like they did
With Tampa Bay.
Cora. Yeah, when they have 3 guys, like they'll have 4 guys. One guy will pitch 3 innings. Another guy will pitch 2 innings. Then you have a guy to pitch to certain batters.
Yo,
and
we
break it
ain't
down
gonna-
that way. They don't have the starting
I
pitcher
know,
in
but
order to make it.
no, but I'm saying, but why the fuck don't we? Like we ain't the Tampa Bay Red Sox.
Talk to the previous GM and what he
Yeah,
did.
yeah, that dude. I mean,
They
bro.
paid Chris Sale all that money. They traded David Price away. He wouldn't have played this year anyway because of COVID, so you're out of the picture there.
Yeah, David Price.
Eddie Rodriguez got COVID. He's not healthy.
He's not consistent. He's always hurt, and he's not consistent. They should have. This is my thing with the Red Sox, bro. I think it's asset management, right? What it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? You let Mookie Betts go. You sign it, Nathan Eovaldi. You sign. You give. You know, Chris Sale, when he's not hurt, he's a great pitcher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But why do
he
you give
is.
him that contract coming off of an injury? And then now he goes on Tommy John. We're not going to see him for 2 years, right?
Done. And they had a chance when they made the trade to the Dodgers to pick up a pitcher and who had Tommy John surgery, and the Red Sox didn't want him as part of the deal.
But this is the thing. So, Nathan Eovaldi, right?
They need as many arms as possible. So why would you turn down?
But why'd you give him
a pitcher?
$17 million? Like, that's the thing. I
They didn't want him to go to the Yankees.
But, okay,
They
but...
didn't want him to go to the Yankees.
Dude,
That's why they paid him.
You got to recognize where you're at in the grand spectrum of things. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the days of doing things for the sake of doing it is stupid. Like Nathan Eovaldi, much respect to Nathan Eovaldi for the World Series he had. You know what I'm saying? Legendary World Series, right? Especially that, what was that extra inning game when he pitched all them innings?
Baseball
so
plays
you want to reward him.
But baseball pays you the opposite of the other sports. They paid you for what you did the previous year, not for what you're about to do.
Or the hype. Or the fear of losing you to somebody else.
Correct.
And you make a bad investment because he's not a $17 million pitcher.
No.
And that's what it got to come down to. You cannot care about what the fans say. I mean, care about what me and T say because we know what the fuck we're talking about. But you can't care. You can't care about what fans say, what anybody else says as a GM. You got to look at this person and say, yo, is he regardless of what he's accomplished or whatever, you got to look at it and say, yo, is he a $17 million pitcher? Is he a $10 million pitcher? Is he a $5 million pitcher? And be comfortable in your decision. Now, what good is having a $17 million Nathan Eovaldi on your team right now? What good is that? What good is that doing you?
Nothing.
Not doing you a damn thing, right? And now you're in a situation where we're talking about lost revenue for all these sports, right?
Only way they make money is if they trade away and they eat part of his contract.
But who's taking on? So we're talking about lost revenue for
Well,
everybody. So
you gotta
how
wait till
hard
the-
is it going to be to trade somebody with $17
You're gonna have to
million?
wait for the playoff run, and who needs pitching?
True. That's probably the only situation. And if you do, you got to get pitching back.
Yeah,
You got to get
you
some
need
type
prospects.
But for
'Cause
somebody,
they don't have any. Their farm system is trash right now.
okay, so let's talk about what you would get for somebody like Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan Eovaldi, for the fact that he makes $17 million, he's been an inconsistent pitcher.
You need arms,
Right.
but you need arms.
But you're probably going to get back somebody that has talent but has some type of flaw.
That's all right.
They need bona fide in the pipeline, whether they're going to be stars or not, serviceable players coming up the line.
Because all their players right now, like you look at Mookie Betts was in their system.
Yep. Jackie Bradley was in the system.
Bradley was
like
in
him
the
or hate
system.
him, he was in his system.
Oh boy, that's
Benintendi.
playing. Benintendi's in the system.
Who hasn't been what the hell they thought he was going to be. He hasn't.
No,
You had a choice between Moncada and him to give up. Who would you rather have right now?
Moncada.
You rather have Moncada, right?
Yeah.
At least he got a dynamic. At least he has one. He strikes out a lot, but at least he has one dynamic quality to his game. What does Benintendi do? Anything? Does he do anything? He has a great swing. right?
He's a
Other
nice
than that,
swimmer.
like what's dynamic about him?
He's okay defensively.
He's
all
a
right.
good player. He's a good player
Yeah,
that
he's
you
a
have on
good
the team,
player.
but he doesn't. He wasn't. They needed him to be a star.
Kind of
Especially
reminded me of Trot Nixon-esque.
Trot Nixon-esque with a little bit more, you know, what I mean, a little bit more flair to him. But yo, you need him, especially with Mookie Betts gone. You need him to be a star.
Step up,
You
yeah.
need him to be arm base guy, 20, 25 home runs.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Steal some bases, elite glove. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like he's not that, right? But Devers.
Yep. Devers is a step up.
The problem with Devers is
JD
I think it's
Martinez
going to
is
be
bad,
his
ain't
young
working.
and his discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is he going to be focused enough consistently? And you got to think, they only got 60 games, right? In baseball,
less than that now.
In baseball, it's like this. Guys go through these 2 month, month periods where they don't hit or they're not consistent, and then they'll come back. Can you afford that in a 60 game?
Nope.
So you need guys like this, bro.
But they may not even be playing if dudes keep popping up positive COVID.
They're not. They already talking about shutting it down. But I'm just talking about going into the season, how you got to approach it. Chaim Bloom, new GM, we got to kind of give him a little slack because we got to figure out. We got to see his.
He's
plan
building
come to
Tampa
fruition.
Bay North. He's going to try to build, but they don't have the same type of farming system.
Yeah, they don't have the same farm system. But the thing is, we got to see ultimately what his vision is. But my thing is this, yo, you got JD Martinez. What good is JD Martinez on this team? I like JD Martinez, but what good is he on this team?
No.
It's either
You
it's
gotta
just
start
like
cleaning
anything.
house.
Yo, it's just like anything. You never want to be the team that's kind of in the middle, wavering, kind of like teetering in the middle. You either want to be in the bottom
Or you want to be contending.
or you want to be at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're in the middle, you got to look at moves that, okay, can these couple of moves make us in that next tier? If not, because there's a lot of teams that float in that middle tier and they constantly think and they don't.
But
they
this goes back to what I was saying to you the other day. They've already won championships. They're not hungry for a championship.
Here
So
we
they're
go.
not trying to build a team to win a championship because they've already got them. So either they turn around and they sell the team to new ownership who will be excited to bring championships
Well, that's what I think's
back to
happening.
Boston.
Nah.
But the current
the
ownership
equity's
right
burnt
now,
out, bro. The equity's burnt out.
they don't look like they're interested in building anything right now.
And I'll tell you what I mean by when I say
Because your boy John Henry's too interested in the mistress and the soccer squad, not too much about the baseball squad.
I think that, self-admittedly, I'll admit it right now. Yo, we're getting into our groove, right? We're getting into our bag right now. I feel good. But, yo, self-admittedly, I kind of see things literally and I kind of see things, beyond the simple stuff that's right in front of you, right? So I'm looking at John Henry, right? When did he buy the team? He bought the team in 2001, 2000?
I think so. I believe so.
Yo, don't listen. I know you guys probably going to hit us on the fact, like, research, whatever. We're not on that right now. We don't got to the budget don't call for a research department right now. We still getting started. So I think it was somewhere around 2000, 2001, because they won the first one in 2004. So I think, when did Manny come here? Because they bought the team the year after, I believe, Manny signed that deal with them. But, so this is my theory on John Henry, and this is my theory where the Red Sox are at right now, and I'm going to try to go through as quick as possible. So, John Henry, they bought the team somewhere around 2000. And at the time they bought the team,
John Henry & Co. John Henry started a building sports empire. Henry and his partner, Tom Werner. Shout out to that 70 show, Tom Werner, producer of that show. Funny as hell. Anyway.
yo, Tom Warner Tom Warner's like a 1.2% owner. You just get out there and talk. John Henry owns the team.
2002, he bought it for $380 million.
And it's worth how much right now? Like $7 billion or some crazy shit like that?
Let me see. I believe they are worth...
So he bought that for $382 million? Damn, I should have studied my math in high school, man.
Right now, the Red Sox net worth is $3.3 billion.
Yo, Will. Hey, Will. Yo, what's that math on that? What's the percentage of earning? What's the earnings from 380 mil to what is it?
3.3 billion.
3.3 billion. Yo, all my math teachers, huh? 9 times.
No, you're talking about billion.
Yes, billion.
And how much do you pay?
He paid 380 for it, right?
380 million.
And now it's worth
3.3 billion.
3.3 billion. Over too much. Okay, so Will said too much, and Will's smart. So that's a lot of equity in that he built, right? So let me ask you this. Let me go to this question. When they bought the team, the Red Sox were at that time, right? What was big in Boston at that time? The Red Sox was it. Red Sox was it. The Patriots had just started kind of creeping into the spectrum of the Boston sports landscape, right? But the Red Sox was the shit because the fan base was so ravenous and so desperate for a World Series that they built up a ton of equity in that team the first, 6 years, right? based off of the fact that the team was so hungry. So they threw all their chips on the table to try to appease that fan base for the championship, right?
All right, let me give you the breakdown too. I got it right here.
All right, cool.
$3.3 billion. So he
Right.
purchased the team in 2002. He paid $380 million. Revenue from the team was $519 million. Operating income $89 million. Any debt value 0%. Player expenses $246 million. Gate receipts $199 million. Cost to wins to player cost ratio 63.
That's craziness.
Revenue per fan $102 he makes off per fan.
Is that back at that time or currently?
Now,
So
every
that's
time a
movies-
person walks into that stadium,
Yeah, that's money he's losing right
He's
now.
making $102. Yeah, so he's losing money right now.
Okay, so let me get to this. So all right, so all that equity that they built up with,
And they have the media deal with Nesson, so they're making money off that.
and he
too.
owns Nesson too,
The
because
TV deal.
Nesson is part of that deal. So whatever Nesson's value is, you got to equate that with that too, right?
Yes.
And so this is what I'm saying. The equity that they gained off of fans' desperation to win a championship, and then kind of feeding that.
So the value change, they said it was 3% over 1 year.
Of upward value.
Correct. And then annualized change was 13%.
So
That's crazy.
So that feeds into what I'm saying. So look at all the equity that they created, and most of that is what? Off of the fan bases want for a championship, and you had all that rivalry going on with the Yankees, and they was boosting tickets, and it was crazy around that time, right? So you build that asset up to ridiculous proportions, right? So now you're sitting on an asset of $3.something billion, okay? Any business, right? When they start cutting losses, they start cutting expenses, correct? They start worrying about taxes and things like that. And then on top of the fact that he don't have any kids, right?
Start cutting payroll.
You start cutting payroll. You start worrying about
Now, he
penny
has no
pinching.
kids. He has no heirs.
He has no heirs. So in the grand scheme of things, what are you building that equity for? You gonna bury yourself in it? You gonna throw yourself when you die?
True.
So if you're 70,
Can
how
buy
old is he?
something else.
Okay, or, right, you sell it and you live your life with the other utmost billions that you got. So, roundabout way, I'm trying to say, to me, it looks like John Henry, whether it's been I don't know, I don't have no inside information, obviously, but just looking at it, it looks like he might be in a position where he's looking to offload the Red Sox. So he's trying to keep the things down. He got to keep them, certain assets he got to keep on the team.
Yeah, he's 70 years old.
Okay, so certain assets he got to keep on the team at a low price to make the team marketable or attractive to potential buyers.
And he's a Republican.
Okay,
And he's worth $2.8 billion.
he's trying to get
So
that
he's
back.
not. He's thinking about some other investment down the road. That
Exactly.
He's looking at.
So herein lies the issue. How do you feel as a Red Sox fan that your equity has been marginalized? Am I lying?
Ticket prices aren't going down.
Your equity got marginalized. So now you're sitting here looking at a team that in a market like the Red Sox should never be acceptable for them not to be competitive. It should never be acceptable whether your GM is Dombrowski.
With Dombrowski blew with all those big contracts. That's why he paid all those dudes. He paid J.D. Martinez. He paid Sale. He paid he just gave somebody else money. Who else he just gave money? Gave somebody else money.
He gave Evaldi money. That's what he gave.
Yeah. So there's 3 big contracts right there.
But I'm saying, you just said to me back in the day, they knew Mookie Betts didn't want to be here. So why excuse my language, Mom, because I know you listen, why the fuck would you let him walk away? Why would you use that asset to get a top-end pitcher of somebody in here that can help you build for the next however many years?
The pitcher the Dodgers offered back in return, the Red Sox didn't want. They didn't want him. So they didn't even take him in the trade.
So I'm just saying, I mean, that's where the Red Sox stand. I think personally, I think that these dudes looking to sell the team and move the team. If you don't have no teams, you got $1 billion, you got a Johnny, you know what I'm saying? You got your kids that you're thinking about, all right, let me keep this asset, let me hold on to this asset, let me keep accruing value for this asset for my future generations, right? If you don't got no future generations, what the hell is used to having a team for? What's he gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Unless he donates the profits or something, or they turn to the Green Bay Packers where they have it as the Green Bay Packers is owned by the fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. But as far as baseball-wise, the product that they put on the field is not even worth my attention.
Because I'm looking at their roster right now. Yeah, Matthew Barnes.
Who?
Ryan Brazier.
Who?
Colton Brewer. Austin Bryce.
Who?
Nathan Eovaldi.
I know him.
Zach Galdi.
What?
Matt Hall.
What's a Matt Hall?
Heath Hembry.
I know him. He's been on the team forever.
Yeah. Chris Mazza.
Who?
Josh Ostrich.
Say what now?
Martin Perez. Jeffrey Springs, Phillips Valdez, Marcus Walden, Ryan Weber, and Brandon Workman. Those are your pitchers for your 2020 Boston Red Sox, bro.
Now, the ones that they have.
And you said you only knew 2 of the people?
No, I knew Barnes. All of them.
You know Workman.
I know Workman. I know Brazier, obviously. But them dudes are inconsistent. All them dudes they've been the same. Those guys have been the same pitchers since they've been on the Red Sox for however many years they've been on the Red Sox, right?
True.
Those other dudes, you could have said Randy, Tito, Jermaine. I still wouldn't know who
Bobby,
them dudes
Mike.
are. Yo, I still wouldn't know who them dudes are. And it's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the product they put out there. Because like I said, Boston is diehard. They'll have the pink hats are going to show up. Well, they're not even having them.
They don't have it now, though.
No, they don't even have it now.
So what I'm saying as a fan,
To watch.
this is your time to look at it and say, look, we spent all this equity in this product, right?
Yeah, we put money. We spend. When your ticket price has gone up, we paid whatever it was to see the product that you put on the field. Now you turn around after all the years of us donating and you're profiting off of the fans. The fans now need it back in return and not put that garbage that you have
It's
out
kind
there
of like
right
you're
now.
dating somebody. You're married, right? You're dating early on. It's hot and heavy, and then as the time you got to start taking it for granted. One or two things are gonna happen. Either she's gonna say, "Yo, you're not the same person." It's gonna step.
Yeah.
Or you're going to realize, like, damn, I got to keep the flame hot. You know what I'm saying? If I still respect and love this person. So, yo, all you ladies, don't hit my DMs off of that crazy love, off of that crazy love breakdown I gave y'all. But I'm just saying, I think that somewhere along the line, Red Sox fans, we wanted championships, right? And then we had so much failure.
Boston's been spoiled by that, though. 'Cause
Yeah,
you figure,
in a
like
lot
I
of
tell my
ways.
kids, the
In a
cities
lot of
out
ways.
there, they've never smelt a championship.
In a lot of ways.
They've never had a parade. They've
Because I
never
don't see
experienced
it.
a parade.
I don't see the trajectory. Basically, I don't see the trajectory trending up.
This team, no.
No, I'm just talking about revenue and all that. Because if you look about it, baseball in the general is struggling. Well, they say they're struggling,
True.
but they still giving dudes $400 million contracts.
Correct.
So I'm trying to figure them out.
Because it's the TV money. That's where the majority of their money, like the teams that have the big markets, like L.A., New York, Chicago.
And they got profit sharing, right?
Correct.
So
you
them
figure with
dudes
Los
are-
Angeles, Magic Johnson was part of that team. That the conglomerate group out there that owns that squad. There's really no cap in baseball, so
Yeah, they
there is,
better
but
win,
there
though.
isn't.
They better win, though. They better win because they got a lot of money invested in that team. But what I'm saying is, you've got all that equity that you built over, not to repeat myself, but all that equity you built off the Ravener fan base. We had so much failure and then so much victory, it kind of burned out.
Well, you figure the ravenous fans that went back in the original championships to 2003 to
2004, 7,
all
16.
those, like the later ones, those were your fair weather. I call you pink hats, your fair weather fans, not your diehard people starving for a championship fans. Like I say with the Patriots, your first 3 Super Bowls, those were your diehard Patriots fans. Yeah, Steve Grogan growing up, Tony
Getting
Eason not
smacked
winning.
by the Bears fans.
Yeah, getting smacked
Yo,
by
shout
the
out to
Bears
my boy
fans.
Ramel, who was a Patriots fan when we was like in 8th grade. We used to laugh at him. He's a black fan. We used to be like, yo, get out of here with that shit.
But like I said, the Red Sox for like the longest time, they never had really any black players on the team at all. George Scott was like one of the first black players I remember growing up as a kid.
And we all hear the stories about Jim Rice. We all hear the stories about Oil Can Boyd,
Jim
Mo
Rice
Vaughn, how they
didn't
were
talk
cheating.
to reporters
And it's
here.
for a reason.
And he was hard to get an autograph from.
It was for a reason, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that, getting, to a cultural aspect of the Red Sox, I think that, like a lot of things in Boston, I think Boston has been very comfortable with, letting it be known to the world there's no Negroes here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't like y'all here.
And it's not been conducive to inviting to black culture.
Nope. Especially when you had
And
the
it's like a
busing.
lot of cities. And we hear that thing. Listen, we're here. We grew up here.
You figure the busing started in the 70s, and I was a
Dude.
child of the 70s.
Well, who's homeboy who got stabbed with the flag in like 1980 or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not that far. Now, I don't want to keep you. Listen, we're not here. First of all, I'm not copping no pleas for none of that shit because that's y'all responsibility. Second of all, I'm not here to make this uncomfortable or
Comfortable.
unwilling, or be a safe place for anybody. What I'm just trying to do is trying to break down the ideology of a black man growing up in Boston and how we view things sometimes. And for us, it was growing up, it was like, you're here, but you're not welcome. And the phrase that, it's not as bad as it used to be, it's a cop-out. It's not going to fly on this side of things. Because the fact of the matter is this. Black people perceive certain things a certain way, and it's not a figment of our imaginations, correct?
Correct.
Because we've heard our grandfathers, we've heard our fathers, we've heard everybody talk about, did your grandfather, anybody that you know, my dad, did they root for any Boston teams?
No.
Mine didn't either. Why is that?
Because there weren't too many people on the team that looked like us. So it's kind of hard
It's
to
not
root
even
for
so
some.
much that.
Well, I'm saying
It's the town.
Or A.
It was the town. It was the Boston
A
didn't-
that looked like us, and then B. Well, let me say this: there were people that rooted for the Celtics when Bill Russell and
Yeah.
all those dudes were on this. JoJo White and
Yeah,
all them
yeah,
were on
yeah.
the team. So you did have black fans in that aspect. But as far as baseball, like when I used to get taken to a Red Sox game, there would be plenty of times where my godparents and I would be at the game, and you'd have a person yell out, an
Epitaph. Yo, Will,
towards
what's the
us.
word? Epitaph?
They'd yell out a swear.
Yo, Will's sleeping over there,
They
yo.
would swear at us. They'd use derogatory words
Epitaph.
towards us, and it was interesting. So then that would turn off my parents from wanting to go to a game, because you want to go to a game to enjoy it, not to go there to the fact to have to worry about some racist comment popping off because
I mean, that
you
happens
stood
in a
up
lot of
or you
things.
spilt your drink or
Yeah.
you hit someone's shoe by accident.
Don't feel comfortable.
Yeah,
But I think also a lot of it had to do with the city.
true. And that going back, like I said, a lot of that
I'm
went
not
back
going to
to
root for a city.
the segregation and the busing.
I'm not going to root for a city
'Cause
that
the
makes
busing
us
is-
feel uncomfortable.
The
Now,
busing is
even
what
though-
made busing is what made people uncomfortable, which then started the whole racial issue, because then you're taking white children, send them to a black neighborhood, taking black children, send them to a white
And they
neighborhood.
experienced that.
And then having sports on top of that. So when an athlete's looking outside, say you're a free agent in Chicago, you're looking at Boston in the 70s,
Yeah.
you're not trying to come here.
And you got to think about how unfairly a lot of black athletes either felt they were treated or
they were
treated.
Yeah.
And we've heard those stories. So
Bill
as
Russell-
the culture changes,
Bill Russell told we couldn't live in Brookline.
see, and that's the thing. We're not too far removed from those stories. So when we sit here and we say, yo, that's why Mookie Betts not wanting to be here and that whole cultural dynamic, that's why it's a hot button issue. Not necessarily a hot button, but that's why I got to make sure that we keep it about what it is, because we remember hearing those stories from our parents. Like my dad didn't like the Red Sox because of their lack of, diversity early in the days, because the Red Sox, Chris Patrol had a chance at Jackie Robinson. You know what I'm saying? They turned it down.
You figure
We
the
all know the
Bruins,
history of Yaki. We all know the history of Mr.
Yaki
Yaki.
Way, yeah.
I'm not even going to call him Mr. Yaki,
you
but
see, Bruins and the Celtics were the first two teams to have actual black players on both teams.
exactly.
And the Bruins, especially for hockey,
And
had
the
the
Bruins,
first black player.
Ray, right?
Yep, I believe.
So the thing about my Uncle Arnold, he's a big hockey fan. Like I watched a lot of hockey, but I think that a lot of reason why our parents or our grandparents, not so much our grandparents, but our parents and our uncles, and they didn't necessarily root for, and we heard them rooting against Boston teams because of the feelings of the city.
Yeah.
We're not gonna root and support, a town
that doesn't
that support us.
Yeah.
And so growing up, our generation, you're a little older than me, was the transition of the cultures blend that time.
I was
and
a
those
Sixers
feelings.
fan. I was a Lakers fan.
My
Like
dad
all
was
the
a
dudes in
Dr.
my
J
high
fan.
school, all my dudes in high school, Larry Bird.
Exactly.
Nope, not at all. I couldn't do it.
So like my dad, like my cousins, my brothers, they were all Lakers fans.
And it wasn't the fact that there weren't black players on the Celtics, because they had Tiny
They had-
Archibald.
it was the town,
They
bro.
had Cedric Maxwell.
They had Cedric Maxwell.
Yeah.
They had, they had
Robert
ML
Parrish,
Carr, Robert
ML
Parrish,
Carr.
DJ.
Yep, your
They
boy
had-
Terry Durod, Gerald Henderson.
Yo, and they were great when you look back at it. So as an adult, through peerless, through
Dennis
eyes,
Johnson.
through evolved eyes, when you go
Yeah.
back and look at the game, you're like, yo, Celtics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they had
and
a
now
nice
we
squad,
root for
but
the
you're
Celtics.
like, back then you were like, nah.
Now we root for the Celtics because you got somebody, Danny Ainge, who's a progressive type of person. You know what I'm saying? Brad Steve, the culture's change. It takes time for that to manifest itself. But those feelings are still there. So every time we see certain situations, we still got to address it and call it out if we think it's bullshit, because there's certain underlying tones that might be there that we got to address. If we don't address it,
Because the crazy part about the Celtics is one time they had like a lot of black players. Casey Jones, Sam Jones, Bill Russell. Then there was a stage
Bill
where there
Russell goes
wasn't.
without speaking.
Where they were at the end. Where
So, yo, man, we got the Celtics in a bubble right now.
it was kind of a crazy game last night. Your boy looked pretty good for the Celtics there, Marcus Smart.
Yo, Marcus Smart is like one of them players, man, that I'd be frustrated with him sometimes, but I love him I love him sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like one of them guys that you need on your team. Like, when he starts gunning, he's 7 for 1 for 7 from 3-point line. He's still shooting. And then he'll make a play, a charge, a steal. He's a gamer. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of it, you got to have him on his team. I mean, Kimba looked good.
Yeah, Jason Tatum was invisible. I think that layup really hurt him when he said he didn't have a basketball hoop to shoot with. Shooting for 5 for 18, I think he went last night. That's not a good look.
I mean, that's the thing with Jason Tatum. I mean, like, he's a star, man. He can be a star.
But
And I
he-
just think that he got to be impact the game every game consistently, be that guy.
And if you look at all the games last night of all the teams, when the stars of the team needed to show up and make plays, LeBron, Beard, whomever it is, whoever the star is for that individual team, like John Morant,
Yeah.
they showed up. Jason Tatum,
Giannis.
MIA.
You know what I'm saying?
Giannis, yeah.
But I think, too, like, we got a unique situation, right? But we can't let it run off on itself. Like, you could either come in and say, oh, well, it's the bubble. They got to get ready. They got to get acclimated. Or you can have a sense, what you said last night is of what? A sense of urgency. Meaning that I heard the commentator say, hey, for these 2 games, the seeding's not going to change. This is kind of like a de facto scrimmage. No, it's not. The Celtics have not built up enough equity to treat anything like we could turn the switch on in the playoffs. They have to hit the ground and they got to go because it's a unique opportunity right here because it's going to be a team that came ready to play that was supposed to lose to another team.
Oklahoma City. You gotta watch out for them.
Okay, that was going to play a team that was supposed to win that didn't come ready to play. That's going to knock them out.
Because you got to come with the dog mentality off the rip, and I didn't see that in Jason Tatum.
I didn't see it, and it definitely looked like he was super duper rusty.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
This is dog time.
This is dog time. And, every time they came down in court, first of all, Bucks got out to that crazy lead, right? It was like 17-2 or something like that.
You boy.
And they have that thing where it's like...
Vincenzo crossing up Kemba, making him
Oh, yeah, he did.
making him fall.
But my man Kemba came back with the swoop, swoop, swoop. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is every time the Bucks... So the Celtics climb back in, right? And this is where a young team, and they're still kind of young, but they're not young because they have a lot of game experience.
But they take bad shots.
Mentality is still young.
Bad shots.
Every time they got in a foul, somebody tried to shoot a 5-pointer, meaning come off a screen instead of going to the basket trying to get a foul and impacting the game.
Gordon Hayward.
They would shoot a 3, and then what would happen? Giannis would come down,
Layup.
right to the basket,
Dunk.
and just take all that momentum away. So
And they were trying to wall defense him, but they don't have the people to do that. They don't have the size to do that.
nah, they don't have. I mean, you gotta.
They
but
worked with Al Horford, but they don't have the size. Tyson's not tall enough. Cantor's too slow.
you gotta. With somebody
Where's the
like,
Time Lord?
Yeah, I don't know about the time
You
Lord.
need size. He can jump. You use the fouls.
When
Where's the Time Lord?
They was waiting too late. So as soon as when Giannis catches and he goes, you gotta jump on it right there. You can't let him get
That first step.
that first. They was waiting too late for the next man to step in.
Yeah.
And they got shooters around him. So you can only go but so far. You know what I'm saying? So I mean for the Celtics, prospect wise going forward, what is your expectations for the Celtics?
I think they make it to maybe second round.
So you got them losing this thing. You don't got NBA.
I don't have them going to the final.
For me, they need to be in the NBA champ. They need to be in the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals.
I would like to see them in the finals, but if they played the way they played last night,
And it's a mentality thing. It's a mentality thing with them. It's not a talent thing because the bench, they don't have a lot of bench players, but you're not going to play that many guys in the bench. They need Jason Tatum, with all due respect, and you've seen it a lot before the first end of the season, before the break, but he dropped his nuts a little bit and was getting busy.
but the way their offense runs, it's Kemba.
It got to go through Jason Tatum.
But it's Kemba.
And
You see the difference when Kemba was on the floor because they don't have anyone else that can score. If Jason's the only one out there with Jalen.
Jalen can score, but he don't have as much tools in his toolbox as.
That fadeaway for Jason Tatum was not working yesterday.
But you look at it and they lost to the Bucks. I like the fact that they fought. I like the fact that they
The refs
grinded.
gave him that game. Gave Giannis that game.
Yeah.
Because
So-
he should have fouled out. That was a foul. Even though they're trying to say it wasn't. Like a bunch of different local people, Harley and DJ Bean, were trying to say that he was moving in the air. But as he stepped out of the circle. So you're supposed to stand there and get dunked on? Or you're supposed to step up into the circle? But they said while he was in the air that you can't do that. So you just take
I don't know, but I just think that it didn't come down to that. I think it comes down to Giannis. They had Giannis, and you don't.
And
you need somebody
can't
to
stop
equalize
them,
that.
they're not going to make it to the Eastern Conference.
You need somebody
Finals.
to equalize that. So hopefully the Celtics we want to see some more, but they can't treat this like they have they're a championship team. You know what I'm saying? They're not. They gotta focus and they gotta be assertive and they gotta take these games. So I don't want to shit on them because they did fight and they did come back and it was a good fight. And after all, it is the Milwaukee Bucks. But when you got a chance to slay the dragon, you gotta slay the dragon. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So so for the Celtics, that's where it's at with them. As far as what else we got? We got the Bruins, right? The Bruins are in the bubble up in Toronto and Edmonton, is it?
I'm not sure which city they're in.
I think it's Toronto, Edmonton. It's kind of crazy because you didn't really hear any. They're not really telling you. And you know another thing that they're doing that's cool? They're not telling you who tests positive or nothing. It's just like, yo, mind your business,
They posted the other day that none of the players tested positive.
which is dope. But they're not really saying too much about how what do you have any details on how the NHL is actually going about establishing their bubble and what they're doing as far as to making sure that guys are following the requirements? I know there was something about a $750,000 fine or some craziness.
They have their bubble is basically similar to the NBA bubble. They just use they have two cities. They have certain rules that they have to follow, and that they cannot leave the bubble without authorization. They have 24 teams, 12 in each conference to each city. The top 4 teams in each conference, based on their regular season records, will compete in a round robin to determine the seeding for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's dope.
Teams
the top 4 teams, not the bottom 4.
No, correct.
Oh,
teams
shit.
in the 5th through 12th positions in each conference will compete in a best-of-5 qualifying round to determine the remainder of the playoff field.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a precursor tournament, like an Olympic-style type of tournament.
Correct. And the Bruins are in first, so they're the number 1 team.
But they got to still play in that round robin with the top 4.
Correct.
That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. How do you feel about Pastrnak missing so much time?
It's not good when your top player is missing that much time. It doesn't help.
It's definitely COVID related, though. You think?
I don't know. I think he's just going out being an idiot. For real. How can you not be available? And that was what they said. They didn't say he was sick. He's not available.
No, I think the proper term was like not fit to play. Or some shit.
Not fit to play. He's not available.
Yo, that's crazy. I mean, I think that the Bruins the same old thing for them, right?
Now, one thing that's different about the NBA bubble to the NHL bubble, that teams were allowed to bring 31 players and as many as 52 people, including ownership, executives, coaches, and staff, total to their hub city hotel. Traveling parties will stay together at team hotels, but each person will have their own room, and no one can visit another room. Guests will not be allowed inside the NHL Hub City bubble until the conference finals in September in Edmonton.
Oh, so they on top of it.
Family members can reunite with the players.
Yeah, so they really bubbled up. But that's what you got to do if you want to have a season, right?
Correct.
You lock in with your bros and you get, you know what I'm saying, you get the job done. And I think that, for the Bruins, I think, last year it was, they should have beat St. Louis. You know what I'm saying?
St. Louis is bigger.
They Bruined the Bruins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what the Bruins used to do to people, right? But the game had changed.
Got bullied.
The game has changed, and that's what's great about the NHL because a team will get hot in the NHL, hot goalie. Next thing you know what I'm saying, they're Stanley Cup champions. So you really have to be on your game.
Yeah. And Brad Marchand's supposed to play, but he was supposed to be supposedly out.
But that's what it comes down to, bro.
And Tuukka Rask is out.
The Bruins season is gonna come down to Bergeron's always gonna be there for the smoke, right? Chara, given his limitations now, as with his age, he's gonna be ready for the smoke, right? Yeah. He's always ready.
But they need Pastrnak, man.
Pastrnak and also Marchand in the playoffs. Them dudes go silent, man. You know what I'm saying? In order for them to win this thing, they gotta be stars. Cause let's just be real with the situation. Is the Bruins roster, when we're talking about talent wise, do they match up to Tampa Bay and the Capitals?
Well, they're still.
I mean, they didn't elect their first place.
Name recognition, but as far as team hockey goes, I think man for man, they're right as good as any other team.
So then there should be no excuse.
Well,
right?
let me not say that because Toronto's got a good team, and Tampa Bay's got a really good team too.
But Toronto got a load of the Bruins in them too, though. Whereas they get to the playoffs, well, I shouldn't say the playoffs. Bruins have a kind of weird ass situation because either they go all the way or they get knocked out in the first round.
The team that you don't expect to win wins,
and the team that you expect to win
loses.
But I like Cassidy way better than I like Homeboy.
Oh, what's his
name?
Claude Julien?
Yeah, Claude Julien. Like,
winner,
I just think the style. Yeah, was he though?
Didn't he go somewhere else? He won before he came here though.
He went to the Bruins. They won that one championship and they got knocked out in the first round. And then he went to Montreal, and that team is worse than what they were before he got there. Because it's just like in the NBA. It's just like in the NFL. Yo, styles, like the style change.
Styles matter.
The styles change. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, for the Bruins, Tuukka got to be Tuukka. Not just regular season Tuukka. He got to be playoff Tuukka. He got to. And I think what hurts Tuukka, too, is that Tim Thomas was so why he had that playoff run that was so crazy.
Yeah, and that was like a once in a lifetime type
Yeah,
thing, and
but-
you ain't gonna see that happen again.
Exactly, but a goalie got to still, he got to be still in a couple of games for you in the playoffs.
Exactly.
He's gonna be a 1-0 game or 2-0, 2-1
Just like in
game.
baseball, when you have a relief pitcher, you need pitcher to steal you one game.
Marshawn got to show up and got to be impactful every game, not just half of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Pastrnak got to stop chasing these hoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Good
focus
luck.
on hockey. You know what I mean? And I think the Bruins. Well, I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what they do because I think that I like the fact, and I know we're going over a little bit, but I like the fact that most times when teams lose in the finals, they come out the next year and they don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They seem like they came out. Now, will that bubble break take that attitude and mindset away, or are you going to show up, pick it up right where you left off, right? So that's what it comes down to with the Bruins, man. So here we go, dog. Here we getting down to the meat. We're getting down to the realness right now.
Getting down to them Pats,
You know what I'm saying? My favorite sport.
the Patriots.
You know what I'm saying? With all due respect, we get to the past right now. So we talked about Cam. We talked about culturally what he means and the cultural aspect of Cam being here.
What about all those?
But let's talk about football with Cam.
What about all those excused absences?
Oh, you want to hit that first?
Well, you figure that's big. You got 7 plays now. Marquise Lee's been added to the list.
All them dudes with the exception of Dante Hightower was getting cut.
You think Cannon
Don-
was getting? I don't think Cannon was getting cut.
Cannon was getting cut. You want to know why Cannon was getting cut?
Who's playing right tackle? You ain't putting Cunningham.
No,
or
you're putting
Cajuste out
homeboy over there. The
You
Michigan
putting
dude.
Rodney Cajuste out
The
there.
Michigan kid.
He's playing guard.
And I'm going to tell you why Cannon was getting cut. Because he makes 4-point-something million, I think, right? He had a bad year last year. And I think he's on the last year of his deal, and he's a veteran. That's Bill Belichick. Either you come in here and renegotiate that deal, or you cut music. That's what that is. Patrick Chung, all due respect,
He ain't cutting him. He wasn't cutting him.
because he likes Patrick Chung. But if you look at the dynamic of it,
You look at all the safeties that he brought in.
but you
But I
also
think
look
he
at the
already
money
knew-
that he made.
probably had an idea that,
I think he kind of knew these dudes might not be showing. You know what I'm saying? But
plus you look at the injury history of both guys,
both
Chung
guys,
and Hightower.
and you can't help me from the top, especially when you're a veteran and you're making money.
The best,
That's Bill Belichick
best
cut
ability
music.
is availability.
Availability. And that's Bill Belichick cut music, right? Who's the other dude? I don't even know his name, so you know what I'm saying? He was
Vitale.
not, yeah, he wasn't Vitale.
He's a fullback. They needed a fullback.
But is that the dude from the Packers?
Yep, the dude they just got from the Packers.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Google that, because I don't. The Vitale was I thought he was the young kid because they had the Jacobs kid, and then I thought Vitale was on the team last year. But either way, we figure that once you look at that up. But I definitely think Marquise Lee, is it out of the realm of possibility? How many veteran wide receivers have the Patriots brought in that don't see the field, eventually see the field? Who is that? Is that dude? What's his name?
Yeah.
Oh, that's him.
Came-
He's from.
came
Oh,
from Green
okay.
Bay.
Damn, I thought he was on the team last year. But anyways,
Nope.
so I think a lot of them dudes. I mean, Vitale's. I think
James Devlin is gone.
I think that's a big loss for them, especially
Big
what they're
time.
trying to do right now. But I think Cam's gonna make up for so much of that shit, bro, because of his movement.
But who's
And-
your? Is David Andrews? You said David Andrews.
He's
is
back.
playing?
Yeah, he said he's playing. I was worried about that because of the blood clot things, but he said that he's playing. But most of those guys, dude, like, come on, like, with the exception of, first of all, I was tired of Patrick Chung not being able to cover fucking tight ends, anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope, if anything, the dude from Lower Ryan, what's his name? The first round draft pick. I'm drawing a blank right now.
For who?
The safety they drafted. What's his name? Duggar.
Kyle Duggar.
I hope he can cover tight ends, please.
As I said, he's supposed to be that dude.
Like, please don't beat
Now
the
the
Bucky
Patriots
Jones.
got $25 million because of all these opt-outs, so they can't actually go out and sign people because they have $25 million under the cap.
You know
Next
Belichick
year
gonna do
they're
that,
going to
though.
be $50 million.
Belichick's probably gonna sign some people that he wants to keep.
But then there'll be $50 million for next year's cap because the cap's going down to $175.
Yo, Belichick's one of them bargain basement dude. He's them second day free agency dudes. Like Snacks Harrison's a dude I would like to see them pick up.
$175 million. So a lot of people are going to get cut.
There's gonna be a lot of people out
You're
there.
going to have a lot of big.
But
name
you don't
players
settle
getting
the
cut.
season. They can snatch one right now. You know what I'm saying? They can snatch one right now. They can.
Davian Clowney, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, he's bugging. He wants stupid money. He wants
20
stupid
million.
money. Yeah, he's dumb.
3 sacks and you want $20 million.
Can we talk about the Cam versus Stidham thing?
You talking? Yeah, sure. Why? How can there be? You seen the picture? How it's not a versus now.
Why was it even? Why wasn't? I want to know why it was even like. Who even thought that was even like something?
Because he was working out here with some of the players on the team.
Who,
so
Stidham?
yeah,
Yeah, I like Stidham too. But he ain't.
But all the starters and do everything else are working out with Cam.
Listen,
Muhammad Sanu working out with Cam. Julian
Stidham,
Edelman working
Stidham
out
can
with
go work
Cam.
with Cam too. Like, there's no competition.
But
Like,
Cam-
stop that.
But Stidham doesn't. If I'm Jared Stidham, I'm not backing down.
Hell
I'm
no,
not
I
giving
wouldn't
you
want
the
him.
job.
I wouldn't want to give him the job either. No, listen, I'm not from a Stidham perspective. I'm saying, yo, you go fight for the job. But what I'm saying is, let's be real with these people. Like, stop saying that there's even a possibility. Unless somebody kidnaps Cam Newton on the way to the game. And the thing about like, Josh McDaniels is gonna put Cam Newton in a position to do what he does and be successful at that. And if Cam Newton's healthy, I think the Patriots should be fine. How do you feel about the rest? Like, it's been a lot of focus on Cam, right? How do you feel about the rest of the roster? Because there are some holes, especially the defensive line. To me, is the biggest hole. Everybody talks about wide receiver,
They're tiny.
but I think Cam makes up, and everybody's gonna. I'm pretty sure people are gonna hit me up in the streets like, "Yo, you on Cam?" Whatever. I just know what Cam is and the uniqueness of him and how it's gonna open some things up. But so I think the receivers will get open and there will be some catches made. But how do you feel about like the defensive line
They small.
and the fact that they're gonna have to rely on a lot of rookies, young players, man? I mean, I think it's good in one sense if they can play, giving them some time. But how do you feel about that shit?
So you figure it's Adam Butler, John Simon.
Yeah, Adam Butler though he's a role player. He's a third
He needs
down
to be
guy.
starter. He needs to be a starter. He needs to play more.
You think he needs to
'Cause
play
even when
more,
he-
or do you think he plays more? He's gonna be exposed for what he really is,
Well,
which is a
you
third
put him
down
in
player.
position just to rush because that's what he does best.
Yeah, which is on third down or passing situations.
But they don't have anyone else that's
They
doing
need
anything
beef.
else.
Because what got them beat last year, they didn't have enough beefy depth for the Titans or the Ravens.
No, I know.
So Shelton and was the only real
Lawrence
beefy
Guy.
Shelton was the only real beefy dude.
He was getting moved.
But he was playing every down. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a couple beefies up there to keep because you got to think.
Bo Allen's the other dude they got.
Yeah, he's a big dude too, but I don't even know. If I told you I seen Bo Allen make any plays, you know what I'm saying, I would be lying to you.
And Brian Coward, he's small. He's the dude they got from Maryland. He's not that big.
And he didn't play last year.
No.
So it's like, come on, bro. Like, you got to get
He's
some.
like 290, like high 290.
He's a DN. He's like a DN, tweener
He's
type
like
of
a
guy.
hybrid type.
Yeah, he's a hybrid dude, but I don't know how stout he is. You know, somebody can be small but can be stout.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anthony Jennings gonna have to play. Uchi's gonna have to play. Bentley's gonna have to play.
Oh, they're all going to have to play.
Winovich is gonna have to play. So a lot of them guys gonna have to play. So I mean, that's the thing that I'm saying. Like, everybody can focus on Cam or whatever. Cam is gonna be who Cam's gonna be if he's healthy. Yeah. And what about the rest of the staff? The thing, because if you look at the AFC East, everybody's on Buffalo's tip right now.
Say Buffalo's the squad. They're saying Buffalo's the team right now because you figure you have disarray in New York. They don't have a squad.
Look at my face. The Allen kid is,
They were compared. Somebody came out and compared him to Cam Newton.
and they compared Tim. Okay. Let's see. I'm glad you said that. This is another thing for all y'all out there. The next one of y'all I hear can say Tim Tebow's name in the same breath, and when talking about Cam Newton, I'm slapping you. On site slapping you. Open hand slap. Please stop. Like, yo. Only difference between Cam Newton, the difference between Cam Newton and Tim Tebow is that Tim Tebow goes to church and he says his prayers. He's Hulk Hogan.
He's in Hulk Hogan.
Yo, straight up.
Says
And
prayers,
Cam
he's
Newton's
Bible.
Macho Man. You know what I'm saying? A heel and a face. Other than that, because you all know what? Everybody love Hulk Hogan, but Macho Man will
Macho
wrestle
Man
the
was the
pants
man.
off of that dude. You know what I'm saying? Athletically. So let's just stop with the consumption. That's what bothered me. Because these dudes are supposed to be talking about sports, and they're making stupid comments like that. Cam Newton and Team Tebow are nothing alike.
At all.
All right, so that's the end of the thing. So prospects as far as Patriots season, if they have a season, what is your? I mean, obviously here we're used to Super Bowls, but like, what's your realistic prediction for where the Patriots should finish?
9-7.
Wow, really?
Looking at their schedule and who they have to play.
70s?
Who they playing? Look, have you seen their schedule and who they're playing?
Wow, 9-7.
They have the toughest schedule in the NFL right now.
Yo, I got.
The toughest schedule.
Well, I think 10-6 and 9-7.
Because going to Miami, they never win there.
Man, maybe I say 11-5.
They're going to Miami, they never win there.
So can we say somewhere between 9 and 7? So you say somewhere between 9 and 7 and 11-5?
I say 9-7.
9-7. Wow.
And they
I don't
still
know.
make the playoffs because they're going to win the AFC East with 9-7.
You think they go? You think so? So you're one of these situations where Cam might be able to move. It might be a better offense.
Because their
but
first
the
month's
other
going to be a
holes,
struggle. Because if Cam's a quarterback, they're not. You don't have preseason. You don't have.
I think that helps them. To be honest with you, I think not
Because you don't have film on them. But I'm saying as far
No,
as
but I'm just
continuity
saying he
goes,
got time now to kind of put everything, like, you know what I'm saying? You know Josh McDaniels is going to give him his packages. I'm not saying package, but you think Josh McDaniels don't have an O in the tuck for a situation?
Oh, definitely. All right, so here's the Patriots schedule.
All right.
First game's Dolphins.
Are we going to do this whack-ass win-loss shit? Because I don't want
No. No, I'm just giving you the schedule. I don't do that.
All right.
All right, so Patriots play Dolphins here. They play in Seattle. Then they play the Raiders.
Ooh.
Then they go to Kansas City.
Ooh.
Then they play Denver here.
Smokes.
They play the 49ers here. They play Buffalo in Buffalo, the Jets on the road. They play Baltimore here.
Yo, Cam, you got to put your cape on, dog.
They play the Texans here. They play the Cardinals here. They play the Chargers on the road. They play the Rams on the road.
Rams, the Rams.
They play the Dolphins in Miami, Patriots in Buffalo here, and then the Jets. So
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I listen, man.
because the stretch,
I think there's so much
the stretch that's going to be tough for them is they're on the road Chargers, and then again they're on the road Rams.
Yeah, but
back to back.
Yeah, but they Chargers, yo, they always get the Chargers, and the Chargers got a lot of talent, but they
Chargers
always
not but it's not Phillip Rivers.
It's
no
not
more.
Phillip. I mean, it's not Phillip Rivers. It's
what's his
Tyrod
name?
Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor.
But I mean, I think the Chargers. I've never really been scared.
49ers will be a tough game.
49ers. But listen though,
the Seahawks will be a tough game.
is it gonna be is it gonna be one of those Super Bowl layoffs for the 49ers?
They're gonna run the ball down the Patriots' throat.
They got no beef.
That's why.
But Cam, yo. So you got 9-7.
9-7.
I got somewhere between 9-7 and 11-5. I wish I can give y'all an exact prediction, but there's so much unknowns about the Patriots right now. Would you be surprised if they came out and was like 4-1?
No.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if they was 2-2. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think this is what's great. I'm excited about it. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady's gone. Yo, listen,
It'll be a whole new Patriots offense that you've never seen before.
Stop being spoiled, stop crying about it, and just move forward and see what happens. So that's what we got, man. So listen, bro. I just wanted to say I'm thankful that we're here. I appreciate, doing this with you, my brother.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? This was a long time coming, bro.
I had people yelling at me for years.
Straight up, man.
You got a voice. You need to do something with it.
Be talking.
Talk about sports all the time. You need to do something with it.
So for the party people out there, you like, I hit that? I always wanted to be a DJ. You know.
Party people.
You know what I'm saying? All the party people out there. We're going to end with the segment that we call
Set It Off.
Set It Off. You know what I'm saying? So Set It Off segment is a segment that we're going to do where, when we got smoke with somebody, you know what I'm saying? When we got smoke with somebody, whether it's a commentator, whether it's an athlete, whether it's a pundit, this is where we're going to set it off on them. And basically me and Tease is going to verbally whip their ass for about 15 about 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So Tease, man, who we going to set it off on, bro?
Man, mine goes out to, I don't even want to hit Felger and Maz. I want to hit one of their constituents. Their boy Scott Zolak and this whole sending the kids back to school.
You shooting at the
Sending kids
crowd?
back to school. This dude wants to send kids back into school thinking that, it's going to be fine because parents need to go back to work. Man, that is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard, that you're going to endanger children by putting them in a situation like that where, hey, how are you going to put kids on a bus? You're going to spend majority of your day busing children around trying to get them to school before you could even perform school.
Yo, Tease. I mean, dude, this is one of them times, right, where I say to myself, like, what the fuck is going on with people's minds? Like, it doesn't matter what you feel or what you think, bro. You know what I'm saying? As far, not you, Tease. I'm talking about so.
No, I'm saying safety.
And you, Mr. I don't want to wear my mask person. And the numbers are false, fake, and fake news or wherever you lie across party lines, or this is not real, it's not as bad because it hasn't specifically affected you.
Correct.
Right?
That's how the COVID works. COVID basically.
But it's not about that.
For
It's
him,
about that.
For him,
Tease.
he needs somebody in his family
Yeah.
or somebody that he knows close to him. Because
I pray that doesn't happen.
I've had people in my fam and people close to me who've been affected by COVID.
And there's millions of people out there saying the same thing, but still you got this segment of population who wants to still act like their rights are being infringed upon because people are scared. There's 3 of us in here right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. We came in here doing what? We wore masks, right?
I wore a mask.
Okay. Now, if I take my mask off and Will is like, yo, Jay, can you put your mask on? I'm going to fuck you, Will. I say fuck we Will all the time, but it's not about masks. It's about because he don't be mixing my shit right.
Yeah, that's different.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I need my boom to be booming. I need my bapping to be bapping.
The boom bap.
You know what I'm saying?
But no, as far as
Nah, but on the real-
with him, it's how could you
It's
say
politics. Let's
I
keep it
know,
real.
but you're talking about children. It's not adults. If you want to go back to work, go back to work.
Yo, I bet you if-
He's not in the studio. I see him showing from home. I don't see him going back into the studio.
Yo, I bet you if 1 million dogs was dying tomorrow, people would be crying about putting masks on because people care more about dogs than they do about people. It's about decency. It's about consideration. It's not about how I feel. I hate wearing a mask. But there's somebody out there who feels like I should wear a mask because they are scared. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a mask on. And that's what it comes down to. So we really don't get into all the politics on this show. But some things, we got to address because we hear it, on the platforms that we listen to, or we hear it amongst our constituents. And we just got to say it, man. Like, dude, it don't matter how you feel. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter about wearing a mask, the inconvenience of wearing a mask. Take other people's feelings into consideration and say, look, I don't want to wear this, but somebody else feels scared. And it's just like if you have a gun around me and I'm uncomfortable, I don't want that gun around me.
Because you figure also, and that's one thing I don't think he takes into account. Okay, say you do send kids back to school.
Yeah.
Kids are carriers. Kids carry, you have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
They carry more germs than anyone else. Now, they may not
Big
get
ass
sick,
snots.
but they may bring it back to us. We bring
Jeez.
it to, they could bring it to their grandparents.
We
What
know.
do they do if one of their classmates gets sick? What do they do if one of the teachers gets sick and died?
Geez, the fact that we even have to have this conversation is crazy. It's obvious. What's known doesn't need to be said, right? But we have to address it, right? We know, we got common sense.
Well, like my grandmother used to say, you can't make sense out of nonsense.
And karma is a motherfucker. That's what my grandma used to say. Shout out to Aline. All right, so yo, before I check out real quick, I just want to do something real quick. For people from Cambridge, I'm from Cambridge. Shout out to Cambridge. I want to send a love to somebody, and I'm gonna do it in kind of a unique way. So look, let me take you back real quick. I'm gonna try to do this quick. I'm gonna take you back 1994, 1993. Around that time, I was young baller. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be Isaiah Thomas. I wanted to be Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? What was big in the city at that time, Tease, was on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I think. Yo, at like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, get on my bike, walk the tracks, dog, from the projects down to Ringe Field. Yo, Cambridge Men's League basketball, rec league. Yo, for those who don't know, and for those who do know, y'all know what I'm talking about. Cambridge Rec League basketball, men's league, on Tuesdays, I think it was Tuesdays and Thursday nights, was like that. Was like, people say the rucker, it was like an event. Everybody's out there. You know what I'm saying? And these dudes will go at it. Sometimes you might see a D Brown out there playing against somebody. Sometimes you might see a Rick Fox pull up. But mostly it was my cousin Bob, Alfie, Rudy Doughton, balling against teams from all over, Lynn, Boston. And, there was nothing bigger than Bam versus New Image. New Image was a Cambridge barbershop that sponsored this team. And I would go watch. And I had a little bit more sense of pride that night because not only did I have family members out there playing, but one person I would play was my cousin Irv. You know what I'm saying? I know you know Irv Doughton, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Irv passed away.
Rest in peace, Irv.
You know what I'm saying? A couple, little bit ago. And for me as a young man doing this podcast, he was somebody that I always talk sports about. You know what I'm saying? He curated my palette for not only sports, but culture, but hip hop. And I would watch Bam and New Image, right? And I used to feel proud because all the kids was looking at and, watching people. And that was my cousin, you know what I'm saying? That was my brother. And everybody looked up to all these other people, all these other basketball players. But like, yo, I got to see him in real time. And at the end of the night, I would go home because I was young. And like sometime around 11 o'clock, door would open. You know what I'm saying? Irv would come in. You know what I'm saying? He just talked to me about the game. I felt like the luckiest kid in the world. So, yo, with that said, yo, I wanted to dedicate this episode to my brother, my cousin, you know what I'm saying? Cambridge's finest, Irv Dotton. Yo, that was the first episode, yo. New Jack Sports Machine, kid.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, baby. Yo, Will, drop the joint.